Coliseum. Want to say a special hello to all our friends in Spokane watching, and of course all our friends in Yakima, the Tri-Cities, Lewiston. As you see Mercer Island beginning to warm up now, they're out onto the court. Boy, they've been waiting a long time for this one. I talked to some of the players this afternoon. They had a lunch and team meeting at 11 o'clock over in Bellevue for the people not living in the Seattle area. That's just east of Seattle, across Lake Washington. They said they're going to fill their afternoon by playing Pac-Man. Evidently, that's a tradition with Mercer Island players. They go out there and try to kill a little time, and it seems to be working well with the record they have of 25-2. Ed Pepple, their head coach, 15 years veteran. The Washington Interscholastic Activities Association is the sponsoring body for all state basketball tournaments. The WIAA is owned by the schools and directs interscholastic activities such as baseball, cross-country, football, forensics, golf, music, wrestling, and many, many more things. All of us at the King Sports Network salute the WIAA and wish to thank them for their cooperation and assistance in producing this broadcast. Special thanks to Ralph Bayard as well, who works under the director of the WIAA, Hank Rivas, who will soon be retiring, and Mr. Cliff Gillies out of the Monroe and Snohomish school districts. Moscatel, former principal at Mariner High School, he'll be taking over in the summer as the new director of the WIAA. Tonight we talked about the different styles of these two teams coming up now for the AAA championship. Mercer Island, a very fluid team, a very well-coached team, a team that is very skilled. As you see Roosevelt come onto the field, they're just the opposite. Yes, they're very skilled, but they're very loose. They're very wide open. You simply can't predict what they're going to do, and that's what makes it so fun to watch this team. They'll make a lot of mistakes. Like Gary Gardner, the team captain, once told me, he says, we'll have games where we'll maybe have 35, 40, 45 turnovers, but we'll also score 98 points. Looking at some of the people, Demetrius Carter, he'll be the starter at one of the guards for, there's Demetrius right there. He'll be starting at the point guard. He's a great shooter from the outside when he's hot. Something we haven't talked about either is the fact that Ed Pepple, the head coach at Mercer Island, is a very good friend of Ben Snowden, the head coach for Roosevelt, as he is just now getting ready to walk out in front of Ed Pepple at the Mercer Island bench, down on the left side of your screen. They've known each other a long time. They've played against each other, their teams, that is, many times. So let's go down and let's talk to some of these coaches, both of these, Ben Snowden and Ed Pepple.
Mercer Island head coach Ed Pepple, as well as anybody in this city, and you've coached against him for many years. How tough is it coaching against Ed Pepple?
Well, Ed is a very competitive man, and he doesn't like to lose. He doesn't like his kids to lose. He keeps his kids well equipped to do everything to the best of their abilities. So without a doubt, it's going to be a very, very tough assignment for us tonight.
You've known Ben Snowden for years. You've coached against him. What is it like? How difficult is it coaching against Ben Snowden himself?
Well, you know, if you take the approach that basketball should be fun, and it should be fun for the kids and the coaches, I think that's the best kind of a game where the coaches and the players have a great relationship with the other team, and you can go out there and you can get intense and you want to beat them because they're your friends or because you've played against them before. And Ben and I have known each other a long time. In fact, this game that we played, the first game of the season, was supposed to be played last year. But because we were going to Las Vegas, we had to cancel it, and he was good enough to cancel it for 1 year, postpone it for 1 year, and so we went at it again this year. And we're looking forward to it, and I think it's nice when the coaches can shake hands and maybe go out and have a cup of coffee after the ball game.
You won the state title in '73. How much does that help you?
Well, it helps me a great deal. I don't know if it helps the kids. I think what I tell the kids is that it's very important for them to keep things in proper perspective, that we've taken one game at a time to this point, and I think probably more than anything else at this time, maybe it gives me a chance to tell them what things to look for, where to try to relax a little bit, and when to really be ready to go. So I would say very definitely this is a help.
You were in the final last year. How much does that help you, Ed?
Well, it doesn't help us any. I mean, it's a new game, and it's going to be 32 minutes of hell-bent for election tonight, and you know, who knows what's going to happen with kids. You know, when your livelihood depends on 17-year-old kids, well, anything can happen. But we know we're looking for a lot of excitement. I don't think anything that's gone on before is going to make any difference tonight. It's going to be tonight's the night, and whoever's the best team will come out as state champions.
Going live, there is Ben Snowden, the head coach for Roosevelt. If you've been to any of the games here at the Coliseum, either Thursday or last night, you may notice that's a familiar outfit. Well, he has worn that 3 straight nights. Why not? When you're winning, keep doing the same. He was going to wear something different tonight because we were on television. His son said, "No way, Dad. Keep that same outfit on. It's been working just fine." For Ed Pepple, what a system he's developed at Mercer Island. Came there in 1968. He's developed a system of learning basketball that begins back in the 6th grade. He's always felt he wanted every boy, and even girl for that matter, to be able to play basketball on Mercer Island, to give them the opportunity. And he's done just that. It's been a long drive back from Mercer Island after that frustrating, controversial loss to Shadle Park in 1981. But after 27 games, they're back here. And here's how they made it. In the first round, they took on Davis of Yakima in a fabulous game, a 2-point victory for Mercer Island. Eric Schwabe was the man who scored the game winner with 5 seconds remaining. From there, they went on to play Everett. Everett a winner over Foss. Everett just didn't have the speed or the stamina to keep up with Mercer Island. Ed Pepple said they wanted to go out and to run Everett, and it worked. They pressed, they ran hard, they got it inside, and they were very effective. In the meantime, Roosevelt defeated Fort Vancouver, and rather convincingly, even though they trailed in the first half in the early going. So now it is Roosevelt, wide open style. Roosevelt from the Metro League going against Mercer Island High School, the top-ranked team throughout the entire season. Jackson, Gary Gardner, the team captain. Steve Moore, young sophomore inside, not very tall, but he can leap. And then Brett Smith, the intense, the man they call, and you'll find out why later, they call him the Shadow. And he's a very popular man with that team. The other guards now for Mercer Island. Kyle Pepple, the son of head coach Ed Pepple at Mercer Island. Paul Jerue, familiar name, isn't it? Mark Jerue, little brother. Mark, of course, the great linebacker for the University of Washington the past few years. Al Moscatel, averaging 20 points a game and 1 forward for Mercer Island. Joe Townsend, kind of the unsung hero for Mercer Island, played very well last night against Everett. And then at the center, Eric Schwabe, a very, very fine touch for a man at 6'5", can shoot the eyes out of the hoop when he needs to. There's your matchup for the state AAA final. You know, talking with Elaine, should point out that in mid-April, she's going to have what I consider a marvelous special, half-hour special on Sonics head coach Lenny Wilkins. I've seen the first section on a sneak preview, and it is outstanding. They go into his background, where he came from, what he believes in, what kind of a coach he thinks he is, his philosophies. It's an outstanding program, and I think you'll enjoy that. That'll be coming up near the end of the Sonic regular season. That'll be in Seattle only on King Television.
And he got his start in the same way many of these players that we are seeing tonight got their start. High school ball coming on to tournament play.
You might notice here on the back of the T-shirts here for Roosevelt, they all have nicknames. That's Brett Smith and the blonde hair on the left. The back of his, of course, is Shadow. Todd Hanson, well, he's a little more humble. He just has his name. There's the Shadow. Very intense but quiet player. He wants to walk on at the University of Washington next year and play football. Ironically, Paul Jerue, a guard from Mercer Island, plans to do the same. They may become football teammates. Craig Jackson, a man you'll see later on, the back of his jersey, pure pleasure. Quite a group. Ben Snowden says, yeah, I'm sure this is the loosest group I've ever had, but I've not always had loose teams. It just fits with this ball club. I've had very strict ball teams as well, but the chemistry of this team is to let them go, let them do what they want, and he feels that's worked best. Who can argue with them? They're in the final.
Well, the AAA game last year, Don, two teams played what many say was the most exciting AAA contest ever. Now, that opinion could be disputed, but its label as the most controversial will not be disputed. Let's turn the clock back.
The night of the champions continues. Tonight, in the 1982 Boys AAA Final, by Rainier Bank. At Rainier Bank, we're involved. Tonight, it'll be the Roosevelt Rough Riders against the Mercer Island Islanders. A long drive back for Mercer Island after last year's frustrating final against Shadle Park. Hi, everybody. I'm Don Poyer, along with Luke Eddles, and we're just about ready for the AAA finals between the Islanders and the Rough Riders. Two, as we've said many times, but it's so appropriate, contrasting styles, contrasting coaches. Luke Eddles, I don't know what to expect in tonight's game.
Well, it certainly is not going to be like our first game. The first game being a game where the teams played half-court, disciplined, controlled offense. Both teams that we're going to see in this contest, Roosevelt and Mercer Island, like to run. Perhaps Mercer Island's a little bit more controlled in that run. Maybe they play a little bit more of a team game compared to Roosevelt. Roosevelt likes to go one-on-one occasionally. So we're going to see a very different game from the first one we saw earlier tonight, Don.
This one just got to be colorful, crazy, fun, outrageous. Quickly to Elaine Perkins in the AA finals, girls at the UW.
We've got about 2.5 minutes left in the first quarter of the AA game, and Prairie is leading Arlington, Prairie in the white behind me, by a pretty convincing score of 10-2. Prairie over Arlington, 10-2, late in the first quarter of the AA game. We'll keep you posted.
Now to Paul Highsmith and the starting lineups for tonight's AAA contest.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Washington State Boys Basketball AAA Final, and a special welcome to the King Statewide Television Network. This 1982 tournament is co-sponsored by the WIAA and the State and the Washington Seattle Times. This is game number 22, Mercer Island versus Roosevelt. Here are the non-starting players for Mercer Island: Peter Lyon, J.D. Stern, Mike Williams, T.J. Yerkanen, Rich Dewey, Scott Lammers, and Tony Grossi. And here are the non-starters for the Roosevelt Rough Riders: Todd Hanson, Bert Benton, Mike Townsend, Chris Daigre, Ed Yates, Damon Dickens, and Emmanuel Buckley. And now here are the starting lineups for both teams. Starting at the guards, for Mercer Island, a 6'1" senior, number 22, Kyle Pepple.
Kyle Pepple, the son of head coach Ed Pepple. He can do it all from the point guard position. And here's Demetrius Carter.
A 6'1" senior, captain number 30, Paul Jerue. For Roosevelt, a 6'1" senior, number 20, Craig Jackson. The starting forwards for Mercer Island, a 6'3" senior, number 32, Al Moscatel.
He averages 20 a game.
Roosevelt, a 6'3" senior, number 22, co-captain Gary Gardner.
He has the green light, can go for any shot he wants.
For the Islanders, a 6'6" senior, number 42, Joe Thompson. For Roosevelt, a 6'3" sophomore, number 34, Steve Moore.
Just a sophomore.
The starting centers for Mercer Island, a 6'5" senior, number 44, Eric Schwabe.
Here's Eric Schwabe.
And for Roosevelt, a 6'3" senior, number 24, co-captain Brett Smith. The head coach for the Islanders is Ed Pepple. His assistants are Bill Woolley and Bill Clifford. The head coach for Roosevelt, Ben Snowden. The assistants, Greg Raylina and Forrest Ward. The officials tonight are Stu Hanson and Dan Nixich. The official scorekeeper is Bill Longwell. The timer is Don Davis.
Your officials tonight, Stu Hanson and Dan Nixich. Dan on the right. Keep in mind, too, that these players know each other very well. They played against each other for a number of years. They know each other. They played together sometimes. They played against each other in the summer league. They know each other's moves. Anything can happen when it's brother against brother. That's when the fur flies, as they say in football. "27 games ago, Mercer Island was saying, we want to come back. We want to win it ourselves. Convincingly this time. Whatever the case might have been last year. Doesn't matter now. We're ready to play basketball. And here we go. Steve Moore loses control. Oh boy, it's going to be one of those games. Jerry Gardner. Brett Smith and finally to Craig Jackson. He'll set it up now for Roosevelt, the Rough Riders. The Metro champs, Gardner. Rough Rider ball. Schwabe and Townsend in there wrestling for the ball for Mercer Island. Couldn't get the handle. Craig Jackson, inbounding. Demetrius Carter, the transfer from Nathan Hale, number 10. Now Gary Gardner with the ball. Jackson the penetrator. Trying to spread things out is Roosevelt. Steve Moore with it. Carter. He'll shoot from out there. Anywhere around the three-point circle. Now he's going to lay it off over to Jackson. For the baseline, knocked loose. Great job by Kyle Pepple. Schwabe.
Give Pepple excellent pass. He was looking the other way. Caught him out of the corner of his eyes. Not only that, he hit him with that almost a half-court pass.
He's gone by the 500 assist mark for his career in high school, and that is quite a milestone. The lob to Gardner. Both teams expected to be a very physical game. Both coaches expected that, and you're seeing it already.
Here's Roosevelt now with a press. And we've got walking on Pepple.
Craig Jackson has done that all season, to sneak up behind people on that press. He's one of the best at it. Watch.
Here's the inbounds pass. Pepple caught it. Good defense there, but he walked as he tried to get rid of the ball. He took that extra step with his hand. Little stutter step.
Quick little shuffle, right. Gary Gardner with it. 6'3", 210. You don't argue with him. He's kind of the Paul Silas of this team. Smith, stolen away by Kyle Pepple. 1-on-3. Carter has it, and he is fouled. Fouled by Eric Schwabe, number 44.
Well, it's obvious we're going to see a faster-paced game than we have already tonight.
Look at
this.
this.
Steal on the takeaway, and it was hit as he ran to go the other way.
Ed Pepple, head coach of Mercer Island, said, hey, we'll go ahead and run with Roosevelt. We think we can maybe even do it better. So far, everybody's running. Traveling. Craig Jackson, he was named All-Metro today.
Well, Mercer Island will take the ball out, and again, they're facing that full court pressure. And Don, it makes me wonder, since it's so early in the ball game, and since we know both these teams are going to run, Roosevelt's going to have to do a lot of running if they attempt to maintain a full court press as well as their running offense.
They'll do that the whole game. Been doing it all season. It's incredible. Even on the third game in 3 nights. Schwabe. Four to 2. Mercer Island on top. 5:53 remaining, first quarter. Jackson inside, knocked away. That's the big advantage for Mercer Island, the height inside. Pepple. There's your girls' score right now. Prairie dominating Arlington as Craig Jackson skies for the rebound for Roosevelt. Well, we've got the running game we expected. Gardner, checked by Moscatel. Smith. Trying to penetrate inside. It's tough against Thompson in there at 6'6". Jackson. Schwabe the rebound. Still 4-2 Mercer Island. Moscatel. Ooh. Offensive foul.
Oh, we have a really bad injury out there. I think he was knocked out.
That's Craig Jackson who is down.
Well, let's watch him now on the drive by Moscatel. Moscatel moving to the hoop. Jackson, number 20, down. He hit his head was hit on the floor when Moscatel came down, and when his teammates attempted to help him up, they realized that he may have been knocked unconscious. Team doctor. Let's take another look again. Now watch after he is hit by Moscatel. Moscatel's 32. There's Jackson. Moscatel runs into him, knocks him over. And when Moscatel lands, he landed on Jackson's head.
Jackson is moving slightly. I think they're checking his neck right now. All the precautionary moves. They have trainers here on duty as well as the school trainers. Al Moscatel has ice on his left hand right now, so he hit something. He was the man that ran into Jackson on that charging foul.
He's got a little welt too, and there's Craig Jackson. You hate to see any kind of injury in any kind of sport. That one was particularly vicious from where we sat because you could see his head hit the pavement or hit the boards. It's just really scary.
Well, that's the price. Sometimes that's the price you pay when you try to set up that offensive charging foul. Here's Moscatel going up. Now comes down. Boom. His hip landed right on top of Craig's head. They have not tried to move Craig yet. Mercer Island is huddled up. Both teams huddled. With an injury like this especially, you simply cannot rush it. If it's an arm or a leg, that's different. But when it has to do with either the head or the neck, certainly they have to be very, very careful. If you look at it on a game situation, I don't know if it's going to affect the game itself that much. I think it's going to hurt Roosevelt if Craig is unable to play. He is their main penetrator.
And one of their top rebounders.
He is a guard that will crash the boards. That's right. But Craig is now sitting up.
The Roosevelt fans hoping that Craig can continue, not to minimize Craig's injury at all, but meanwhile at the other end, Al Moscatel, the player who ran into Craig, is still icing his left wrist, and he's the top scorer for Mercer Island. So if his either one of his shooting hands are affected, there's Moscatel in the middle there, number 32. He's taken the ice off his left wrist. Now there's Coach Ed Pepple in front of him and one of the other players.
And of course he is a left-handed shooter. Part of the Roosevelt crowd. In athletic terms, it looks like he got his bell rung. Yeah, they'll probably take him to the locker room now. Yes, they will. And examine him more thoroughly. It's just nice to see him back up again. Craig Jackson, just named to the All-Metro team just today. He was looking forward so much to going against Paul Jerue, too, tonight.
Don, I'm told that they were going to bring a stretcher on, and Jackson said, no, I'll walk off the court.
Knowing Craig Jackson, if he's not hurt seriously, he'll be back. He's that kind of a kid. It's time to resume action now. Checking in is number 12, Todd Hanson, for Craig Jackson. He's a 6-foot senior. He's a good ball player. Makes very, very few defensive mistakes. That's one thing that Ben Snowden likes about Hanson. Now, Gary Gardner will probably help handle the ball much more than normal, and he has it now. Man defense by Mercer Island. 5:04 remaining, first quarter, 4-2. Make it 4-4. Tie ball game.
Roosevelt didn't waste any time putting it in.
Jerue. Hanson on him. Moscatel. Schwabe. Townsend. Jerue again. Pepple. Moscatel. Todd Hanson, the replacement with a rebound.
You know, we talk about the injury and how it might hurt Roosevelt. It may help them.
Thompson a rebound. 4:20, first quarter, tie ball game, 4 apiece. Schwabe, Pepple. Jerue wants to walk on, be a football player for UW. Thompson with it, back out to Moscatel. Schwabe, he's the shooter. Not a foul.
Demetrius Carter, number 10, hit with the foul.
A little water down there. You might notice if we ever see Demetrius Carter's jersey, the number 10, it's faded a little bit, the numbers. He took it home to have it washed, and his mother accidentally used bleach. So he has a white and light green uniform. There's Demetrius. He's the lawyer of the team.
The what?
The lawyer. In other words, the spokesman. Gardner with a steal. Carter, he shoots from there often. Way short. Jerue. Bullet pass to Schwabe. We got some nerves, I think, in this game. Both clubs a little tight. Not shooting like they can. Great pass. Oh, Hanson can't cash it in. Excellent assist by Carter, but it couldn't come up with the beans.
We talk about how that injury to Jackson may help Roosevelt's team. What I meant by that is the fact, as we look at the replay, to notice that Roosevelt will maintain possession. The injury may spur them to play a little bit deeper, play even more good basketball.
Gardner outside. You know, that's what happened when, in the playoff game against Juanita, Mercer Island's Kyle Pepple was injured. He had a bad bash on his forehead and his hip. He has the ball right now. When he was hurt and taken out, the team suddenly rose to the occasion and got the win over Juanita in overtime. It brought them alive. 6-4. Roosevelt on top. Moscatel, he has not hit yet. Schwabe. The foul rather on Steve Moore, number 34, the young sophomore.
Two team fouls apiece on both teams now, so we are a ways away from the shooting situation on the common foul.
First foul on Steve Moore. 6'3" sophomore. He leaps like a gazelle. Now we've got a timeout. 2:58 remaining in the first quarter of the state AAA finals. Roosevelt leads 6-4. Mercer Island huddle, Ed Pepple and his ball club. This same group of seniors, senior-dominated team, won the national title as 6th graders. They were runner-up in the national championships in their 8th grade year. They played together for many, many seasons. Tonight climaxes an incredible career for all of them. Kyle Pepple, he'll probably play college ball elsewhere. A couple of the others want to. As we said earlier, Paul Jerue wants to be a walk-on football player at the UW. And Eric Schwabe, who has all 4 of Mercer Island's points, making all 5, is on the foul line.
And by the same token, Roosevelt, a team laced with seniors, 9 seniors, a junior and 2 sophomores.
You look at the roster of Roosevelt, it's incredible. 8 guards and 4 forwards. No centers. Tie ball game, 6 apiece, 2:51, first quarter. Dangerous pass. Gardner comes up with it, however. A little more patience now by the Rough Riders. Now they'll do this quite often. They may even go for the last shot. At least they'll lull you into that feeling. And then all of a sudden you'll see somebody like Demetrius pump one up from 25. Or he'll penetrate if he finds an opening. Something like that. That's what he does.
You called that one, Don.
8-6. Roosevelt on top. Pepple, pretty good pressure by Hanson. There's Jerue. Bullet pass. Moscatel. Paul having a frustrating night tonight. Pretty good defense, but a foul on Brett Smith.
Well, let's take another look at this and see. Here's Moscatel driving the baseline, going up, and on the rebound, Smith tried to reach over to his right, kind of got his elbow, his arm in the way there, a little bit of everything. Here it is from another angle. Watch Smith come in from the other side now and kind of reach over in there. He got him with his hip more than anything else, but he did get him with his arm as well.
3 team fouls now on Roosevelt, 2 on Mercer Island. 8-6 Roosevelt. 2 minutes remaining, first quarter. Pepple. Jerue. Moscatel down to the baseline. Steve Moore, he's a great shot blocker. The young sophomore knocked that one down. Carter. Going against Jerue, trying to drive. And he draws the foul on Jerue. In the 2 summer league games that were played in these two teams together, in both cases, it was either extremely close or Roosevelt dominated, and then Mercer Island came back to win it at the very end in overtime. 2 one-point games.
And in the game at the beginning of the season, I think it was an 11-point margin. However, that game, a regular counting game on their schedules for both teams.
First one for both, right.
Was not as close as the summer league games. In fact, the margin was 25 until all the substitutes came in, and then it became a somewhat closer game.
Good reason for that, too. A lot of the Roosevelt guys were playing football, and they had just gotten back. Okay, let's update you. 10-6, Roosevelt on top with their biggest lead. 4 points, 1:30, first quarter. Moscatel, we haven't seen him hit from outside yet, something he does very effectively when he's on. Baseline, Pepple stepped on it. Now, Kyle Pepple is the kind of guy that controls the tempo of Mercer Island's game. If he has a good game and can get a good smooth tempo going, then Mercer Island is all that much tougher. Brett Smith, minute 13, first quarter. And again, we see them trying to bring the defense out. Willing to go for the last shot if need be. Gardner. Moore. Tipped by Smith, no good. Thompson the rebound. Here come the Islanders. 58 seconds remaining. And now Pepple, 2 straight turnovers. And Ed Pepple is up off the bench. He's upset. Rich Dewey coming in now for Paul Jerue. He'll play at guard or below. He's number 50.
Why, we've got some time, Don. Word from the Roosevelt locker room. Craig Jackson was knocked out for about 30 seconds. He will not return to play tonight on orders really from the doctors here at the Coliseum. He will, however, as I understand it, come back out to watch the game.
Assist by Gardner, points by Hanson. 12-6. Roosevelt trying to run away with it early. Oh, beautiful lob to Schwabe with a position. Pepple with another great assist. Demetrius. On Hanson. 16 seconds, as you see in the upper right corner. With the heavy pressure, finally Dewey gets called for the foul. We said earlier that both teams expected this to be a very physical game and that neither one wanted to give up ground as far as intimidation inside under the boards. And you're seeing that in there. There's a lot of elbows flying.
And by the same token, the fast pace that we've seen end to end is continuing at the half court end. Pepple with the steal.
That 6-point lead has suddenly disappeared at the end of the first quarter with Roosevelt on top, 12-10. Glad to hear that Craig Jackson is going to be all right. I'm not surprised that they're keeping him out of the ball game. But that's good news that he'll be all right. The Mercer Island huddle. Let's go to Elaine Perkins and the AAA, the AA girls final. We talked about the patience of Aberdeen in the first game. It's like Arlington is doing the same now in the AA championship for the ladies. The girls over at the University of Washington.
Including the same doctor doing the surgery.
I want to say hello to our friends over at Crim TV in Spokane, KIMA in Yakima, KEPR in the Tri-Cities area, and KLEW in Lewiston, Idaho. Thanks so much for being with us.
And I want to thank all of you out here watching tonight for tuning in on a Saturday night, watching some high school basketball with us. It really is a pleasure to be with you tonight.
Second quarter underway and controlled by Roosevelt. 12-10 is your score, and here we go. Demetrius Carter with the ball. Up to Gary Gardner. He really is the man in control of the Roosevelt Rough Riders. He has the green light, as Lou said earlier. He can shoot when he wants to. Carter He's a streak shooter. If he gets the confidence, it'll be a long night for the Mercer Island guards. 14-10. Roosevelt. Steal by Carter. Gardner. More underneath. He's fouled over the back by Joe Thompson.
Joe Thompson probably had his best game last night. He has one foul now. That's his first. And in his effort to try to stop the board play underneath, he fouled him.
Al Moscatel has not scored yet tonight for Mercer Island. He averages 20 a game. You've got to take notice to that. Here we are in the second quarter already. Schwabe with 8 points. Pepple with 2.
And here's Steve Moore. And remember this face. Remember number 34 in white. Because he is a sophomore. You are going to hear more about this boy as he plays his junior and senior year.
He's a quarter miler. He wants to break 50 seconds this spring. He's a half miler and quarter miler. Outstanding gentleman. Needs a little more northerly wind on that one. He could give Roosevelt a 5-point lead. No dice. Dewey the rebound. Rich Dewey, the catalyst for Mercer Island. Super sixth man, whatever you want to call it. Very versatile. He can post down below. He can play out at guard. Here he comes over to help Pepple outside. Schwabe.
You know, it's tough to single out any one defensive player for Roosevelt.
The lob into Thompson. Can't buy it.
But their zone is really shutting down Mercer Island's half-court game.
Gardner. He'll try to take it home if he can. Demetrius Carter. Whoa. Got away with it. Referee Dan Nixich shaking his head saying no, he didn't travel. So he comes up with the assist, and Roosevelt is back up to that 6-point lead. 6:20 remaining, second quarter. Pepple over to Moscatel. His first 2 of the night. About a quarter late.
Well, keep in mind, his left wrist, that's his shooting hand,
right,
was injured on that injury to Jackson. So maybe that's a reason he's been quiet.
And there's Carter drawing to foul. No, charging.
Let's look at that one again, Don. Pepple still sliding, now stops. I don't know if he had time. Pepple had time enough to be set.
2 fouls on Demetrius Carter. We got a timeout on the court. 6:03 remaining, second quarter. 16-12, Roosevelt. Welcome back to the Seattle Center Coliseum. I'm Don Poyer along with Luke Gallos, and this is Demetrius Carter. A charging foul called on the young Roosevelt Rough Rider. Kyle Pepple was the man defending him.
Now, watch his right elbow. Well, there he is again. His right elbow, just as he went up for the shot, he kind of flung that out. He had the ball in the other hand. So that's why the foul was called, I think.
Roosevelt with 6 turnovers, Lou. 5 for 12 from the field. 4 for 11 for Mercer Island. That's 7 turnovers
for the Islanders.
That's to be expected with a wide-open game like this. Schwabe out to Pepple. Jerue back in the game now, down into the corner. Dewey. Oh, Schwabe with great position, but can't buy it. Todd Hanson the rebound. Oh, he'd like to try that again. Gardner. Dewey with a gutsy rebound over to Jerue. 5.5 minutes, second quarter. Schwabe. Oh, Dewey with a nice pass inside to Moscatel, and he is fouled by Gary Gardner, number 22.
Moscatel was there for probably what seemed to him to be an eternity. He was calling for the ball, shouting, "Pass me the ball." Watch him there, he's underneath. Well, he's already got it now, but as he goes up, he was fouled, and the ball was knocked loose.
First foul now on. They're giving it to Hanson instead of Gardner. So number 12, Todd Hanson gets the foul. Joe Townsend checking back in for Eric Schwabe. 5.5 minutes remaining, second quarter. It is getting louder and louder and louder in the Seattle Center Coliseum. This is tremendous. The whole island of Mercer is here.
And the whole belt of rose is here.
Three-point lead for Roosevelt, 16-13.
See, most of the fans are sitting on either side of the court. The ends have some empty seats, but certainly not the sides.
Brett Smith, 2-on-2, holds up pretty wisely. Back to the waiting game. Smith.
Well, I sure hope the excitement of high school basketball is coming over the air as much as it is right here in the building, man.
I do too. Gardner trying to thin things out in there. Smith. Hanson won't shoot that often. Brett will. Brett really intense. You can tell there. Quickly snaps his head around. Hanson. Good job by Hanson that time. He could have gotten in trouble along the baseline. Carter. There it is. That's Roosevelt basketball. And they've won with it this year. Knocked loose again by Steve Moore. What a play by the young sophomore.
Oh! Nice pass.
Great pass. Now watch Steve Moore, Luke.
Let's start at the other end. Great pass there, but let's see what started it. On the defensive end, the block shot when Mercer took the ball. Here it is. The ball passed over into the corner, and watch him go up so high. Little fake, and the turn, and he's up there and swats the ball.
Gets it before it hardly even gets out of the hands of Rich Dewey. Todd Hanson, live action on the foul line. 3-point lead for Roosevelt. Pepple set a record of 16 assists in one game this year. Rich Dewey, the catalyst. Moscatel, the gun. Dewey. Mercer Island's having a Dickens of a time inside against Moore and Smith. Gardner. Smith. 6-point lead again for Roosevelt. 20-14, 3.5 minutes left here in the second quarter.
Now as we go to the other end, watch Roosevelt's zone. Notice how it is just keeping Mercer Island from getting the ball inside.
Bad pass. The foul on Pepple, number 22.
That may have been a foul more out of frustration than anything else.
First foul on Kyle tonight. Schwabe, number 44, checking back in for the Islanders. Moscatel's got to be frustrated, though. He has only 4 points. 1 field goal and 2 from the line.
Joe Thompson was the man that went out for Mercer Island on the substitution.
Hanson with 3 straight foul shots. Biggest lead yet, 21-14. 8-point lead for Roosevelt. Usually they're down by about 8 to 10 points right now. They're ahead this time. Don't forget those summer league games when Roosevelt did just the same thing. They were ahead much of the ball game, but Roosevelt was unable to hold on. The Islanders somehow fought back in that league. Way too early to talk about that now. Yes, the zone is still working. Steve Moore again in last touch by the reserve. Number 34, that's Mike Williams in there. He just got over a case of strep throat.
I think Ed Pepple was a little concerned that the rest of the players might get that, and he almost quarantined him from the rest of the club.
But he's all right now, playing in the AAA final. 4.5 minutes remaining, second quarter. 22-14. 8-point bulge, Roosevelt. Demetrius Gardner. Just no good by Brett Smith, but he's fouled by Eric Schwabe.
How did he get that ball loose? That ball was in his right hand, and when he was in the air, he switched it to his left hand. Let's look at that shot. Number 10, Demetrius Gardner. Well, the ball's already up.
But there's Brett Smith in position. Here's the shot again. Look at that. You think that's good? You want to see his Jack Sikma impression. He's got a great Jack Sikma jump shot.
The behind the head.
But it's from 30. They'll even try that. Thumbnail stats right now. Eric Schwabe for Mercer Island. He's leading in the scoring department with 8 points. Al Moscatel again with only 1 field goal and 2 from the charity line with 4 points. Kyle Pepple with 2. Demetrius Gardner with 8 so far for Roosevelt. Brett Smith with 4. 6 for Todd Hanson coming off the bench. 3 of those from the charity line. Better make it 4, huh? Shouldn't we? Tough making 3, a 3-point field goal. And Gary Gardner with 4 points, the captain. Let's look at the bracket now for the AAA. Mercer Island really dominated Everett last night. Of course, Mercer Island defeated Davis in what many felt should have been the title game. Eric Schwabe with a game winner with 5 seconds left.
And Roosevelt beat Chelan to get here, 66-61, and you saw their score in their game last night.
And they beat Fort Vancouver, right, in the semis. 2:22 remaining in the second quarter, setting the stage for you. 22-14 the score, 8-point bulge for Roosevelt with Brett Smith on the line. 2 shots. Lou, I keep thinking of what Gary Gardner told me about 2 weeks ago. Says they're talking about nothing but Shadle Park and Mercer Island, and we love that. We want to sneak in the back door. Well, right now they've got their foot in it. It's early. 24-14. Roosevelt riding a wave right now. Pepple. You got to remember, Mercer Island is a very, very patient, disciplined team. They've been through this many times before. Extremely cool, talented group. Pepple. That was not wide. I don't understand that.
I think it was like the last foul we said. I think he's doing it more out of frustration. That's only his second foul. But by the same token, when you're behind like they are by 10 points, well, we saw in our first game a 10-point lead is nothing. You can come back and win, but still, maybe we can't do that with this team. Roosevelt really seems to have got things together despite the loss of one of their star performers, Craig Jackson. If he joined us late, he was injured. He is not going to return to play tonight. He has still not come out to the arena for that matter.
Gary Gardner on the foul line, 1-1. We've got to remember, too, that Roosevelt tends to cool off just as quickly as they get hot. Right now, yeah, they're enjoying an 11-point lead, but you just don't know with a team with this style.
In playing with them before, Al Moscatel of Mercer Island told us last night, they usually have a bad quarter. Well, the first quarter and the second quarter haven't been their bad quarter, but we still have 2 left.
And the third quarter has been a very strong quarter for them in the playoffs. 1:50 remaining, second quarter. 11-point lead for the Rough Riders. Moscatel looking to shoot from deep. Pepple working around the perimeter. Good defense by Hanson. That's his specialty if there's such a thing in basketball. Bullet pass underneath. Jerue knocked away by the sophomore Steve Moore again. That's 3 that I can remember. Moscatel underneath. Good pass to Jerue. This time they draw the foul on Brett Smith, number 24.
Well, the first block by Moore. For a sophomore, he shows amazing finesse under the boards there. He wasn't called for a foul on Jerue because he didn't foul him. The second time around, though, Jerue got in there. Let's watch it. There's Jerue. Fakes, goes up, and then as he goes up the second time, he's hit from behind by Brett Smith. I'm really impressed with that sophomore for Roosevelt.
I am too. This is his best game defensively I've seen of him, and I've seen about 4 Roosevelt games in the last couple of days. Jerue getting a free throw.
So it's back to a 10-point margin now, 25-15 Roosevelt.
Smith the rebound for Roosevelt. Outlet quickly over to Demetrius Carter. They calling the lawyer. And he's negotiating the Mercer Island defense right now. There's your girl score. Arlington has gone ahead after trailing. And when I say trailing, I mean like by a country mile. Gotta watch those far northwest schools up there. A lot of good athletes in that area. Craig Jackson has returned to watch the ball game. His nickname is Sleepy. Thompson now with 3 fouls for Mercer Island. Minute 10 remaining. He may remain now for the rest of the second quarter. We'll see. Down to a minute 5. Mercer Island. They won't go for the last shot. Don't need to. 25-17. They're under a minute. Boy, Moscatel warms up. Could be a whole new ball game. 25-17. Moscatel now with 6 points. Gardner. Still chewing that familiar gum. Every game, always chewing gum. There's your time in the second quarter. 25-17. Roosevelt is led by as much as 11. 24. Smith. Showing a lot of cool. Gardner. That's young Steve Moore, and he finally wants to call a timeout. 6 seconds remaining, couldn't find anybody to go to, and wisely called the TO.
Well, we'll get a chance to see what Roosevelt's half-court discipline game is. They've got 7 seconds, or rather 6 seconds, to get a shot off. 25-17. Roosevelt, the leader at this point. And now for the first time, the Roosevelt team gets to go to the bench and see Craig Jackson. Certainly they're talking strategy, but now they know that Craig is indeed okay.
Again, thumbnail stats. Schwabe is cooled off. He has still 8 points. Moscatel up to 6. Moscatel's got to get involved in their offense for Mercer Island. I would imagine that's what they're saying. Ben Snowden, Roosevelt coach. Ben Snowden in his 16th year as head coach at Roosevelt. Boy, has he had some good ones play for him. James Edwards back in 1973 when they won the state title. Of course, he's only playing it for Cleveland right now in the NBA. 1965, when they finished second, they had Jack Burgessson playing for him. He went on to play some JC ball and then, of course, Washington State for a while. Carter with it. 3 seconds. And that only adds to the confidence of Roosevelt. That's the kind of ball they love to play. Even Ben Snowden is running off the court.
And we had indicated that Craig Jackson had gone to the bench. He had not. He was standing right where these players are right now. He was standing by that little alleyway where the players are now exiting, watching.
Where it happens in a batch, kind of early. Moscatel beginning to warm up, Lou.
And while you look at that, the individual statistics, the telling team statistic, which you don't see, is that Mercer Island shot 6 for 21 in the first half. That's 28%. Well below the average we're used to hearing from on the Mercer Island squad.
28%, there it is. For Roosevelt, Demetrius Carter. Boy, when he gets hot. When he's hot, he's hot.
And
yes,
keep
10
in
points.
mind, double zeros there for Jackson because he will not return to play because of the beginning of the game injury.
And Todd Hanson coming off the bench, scoring 6 points. 41% from the field goal, 9 for 22, as opposed to that 28%, as Lou said, for Mercer Island. Turnovers, 6. Rebounds, 11. And block shots, that's Mr. Moore's department. Steve Moore with 3.
Well, Don, in the games tonight, the first game we saw a 12-point lead erased, and the team that had trailed winning. Over at the girls' game at Heck Edmondson, we saw a 12-point lead erased. That game's certainly not over yet, but still, we've seen the lead erased. So now the question is, can Mercer Island come back from this 10-point deficit? certainly they've been in this position before, and as you said, having played as many years together as they have, it would not be a surprise to see them come back. What will be a surprise, though, is if Roosevelt does not have what seems to be a habit of theirs, a slow quarter, a quarter where they kind of fall apart. And it'll be interesting to see how they take things here at the beginning of the third quarter.
The band you hear in the background, that of Mercer Island High School. They tend to wear, shall we say, less than conservative outfits for a broadcast.
Well, they're the Islanders.
Performance, I should say, rather than broadcast.
Sure, well, they're Islanders, and in that, with that in mind, they have adopted the attire of Islanders, meaning their Hawaiian shirts and their shorts and leis.
The cheerleaders.
There's the band.
They've got license plates on the tubas. They're hard to read, but it says WIAA, here we come, or something along those lines.
And here comes Mercer Island. There's Paul Jerue and the rest of the squad returning to the floor.
To get back into it, Moscatel more involved in the offense. He's got to start hitting from outside, possibly loosening things up inside for Joe Townsend and for Eric Schwabe. Schwabe, who started out rather fast in the early going.
I think you're exactly right, Don. The lack of Moscatel's shooting in that first half really hurt Mercer Island. But keep in mind that no matter who put the ball up for Mercer Island, it just wasn't dropping. And so somebody's got to get hot for Mercer Island. They've been unable to get the ball inside. That zone defense for Roosevelt has really shut things down. So they're going to have to attack that zone. And Moscatel, number 32 there, is going to have to hit some shots. And keep in mind, he injured that left wrist beginning. I don't think he's favoring it now. And look at Jackson is back on the floor. Now, that wouldn't surprise me if he comes back. Oh my, now that would be a surprise, because when he went off, the team doctor stopped by and chatted with me, Don, while you were talking about the game, and the doctor did say he did not think Jackson should return to play. Now, I'll try to check on that here and see if we possibly may see Jackson.
Let's go to Elaine Perkins for an update on the AA finals for girls. Possibly even more. They've come back to dominate. Craig's sitting down now.
The assistant coach to his left, or to a camera left, just there trying to catch the ball. I just talked to him. He said Jackson will not play. He just wants to be a part of this team. They've come so far. He wants to be on the floor with them. And just the couple shots that he took, you can see he's not really up to playing, but he'll sit on the bench for the second half.
Craig is a senior, so you can imagine the emotions going through him, like you said. The huddle of Mercer Island, they've got some work to do. If they want to come back and get what they've been running for 1 year to get, that being the state AAA title, they've got to overcome a 10-point lead by Roosevelt. And I know they are up for the challenge. Tonight's AAA final, of course, is brought to you statewide by Rainier Bank. At Rainier Bank, we're involved. And thanks to them for letting us bring back the first state championship basketball broadcast in 17 years. It'll be Schwabe against White. White on the left. Schwabe in the maroon jersey. Steve Moore comes up with it for Roosevelt. Gardner with it. Here we go again. Gardner had 10 points in the first half. Gardner still trying to penetrate, lays it off. Todd Hanson gets it back to Demetrius Carter.
It'll be interesting to see if Roosevelt changes its offense.
Good hustle by Thompson. Moscatel, 3-on-2. Schwabe underneath. With the size of this crowd, and if Mercer Island starts coming back, that's even that much more pressure on Roosevelt.
Here it is again, Moscatel over to Schwabe. Schwabe fakes once up in the air, and then when he hits the shot, number 34 for Roosevelt was right there to accidentally hit him. That's Steve Moore.
Steve Moore with 2 fouls, and Eric Schwabe with 10 points on the line. Suddenly that 10-point lead is down to 7, and we're just underway in the third quarter of the state AAA finals. Gardner. Hanson, and back to Gardner again. Paul Jerue against him. A little more pressure defense by Mercer Island. Demetrius. And a foul by Pepple. That's 3 on Kyle.
27-20, 7-point lead for Roosevelt. 7:11 to go in the third quarter.
First team foul on Mercer Island. Demetrius on the line. Demetrius may go to one of the junior colleges down in California. A couple are very interested in him. Play ball down there. He was telling me before the game, in order for them to win, he's got to deny Kyle Pepple the ball. Roosevelt holding on to an 8-point margin. 7:09 remaining in the third quarter. Jerue works his way through. Here comes Moscatel. Red White with a gutsy rebound and a foul on Moscatel. It's his second tonight. Little frustration on the faces of Mercer Island right now. They trail by only 8, and now full court pressure. Continued full court pressure, should we say. Carter. And Pepple. Foul.
Oh, you can see the surprise registered on his face. That is his 4th personal foul.
Foul on Pepple, yes, number 4.
Well,
his body bumped into him. It's that simple.
Well, they're going to have to stop. Mercer Island's called a timeout to regroup here.
They came out hot out of the locker room, but now they've run into some more problems. Roosevelt, 8-point margin. We're back live at the Seattle Center Coliseum with Roosevelt leading Mercer Island. An 8-point bulge. Roosevelt with the ball. 6:56 remaining here in the third period. Outstanding ball game so far. Gardner lays it off. Now over to Brett Smith. Smith to the foul line.
Took a little bit off of it as he went up in the air. Saw that he didn't really have an open shot. Tried to pass. Couldn't really decide what he wanted to do. And I think he lost the ball. Had to push it off the palm of his hand.
Good defense, and he simply overcommitted. Mercer Island could cut it to 6. Not that way. Carter with it. Oh, my. Smith with the rebound. Now it's getting wild. Jerue all alone underneath. And Pepple couldn't see him.
I think he saw him. That's why he lost it.
Get to him now. Schwabe. And he is fouled. Jerry Gardner is hurt. Number 22.
Twisted his ankle. He's just out of frame to the right there. He's at midcourt now, limping. Let's watch the play again, though, and see what caused the foul. Number 44 for Mercer Island is Eric Schwabe. Well, let's look at Gardner as he goes off the court.
Gardner has a bad toe. He has a bad big toe. The nail has been folded back before. In fact, yesterday it happened. Okay, here's the action.
Here's Schwabe going up, and as he goes up, he's fouled. There's Gardner right by the foul line going down because it looks like he stubbed his toe, maybe.
Well, it's very tender, and they had to keep ice on it so he could get his shoe on tonight. That would hurt Roosevelt very, very much to not have Gary Gardner out there quarterbacking. Kind of the general of the field out there when things get extremely tight, which you know they will before it's over with.
Now Mercer Island's come out in that full court pressure. Look at
Steve Moore all alone. Yeah, I saw it too. Demetrius Carter. Baseline, Steve Moore tries to lay it underneath.
He was trying to get it to Steve Moore, who had been open the whole time.
Pepple. Schwabe has the ball and is finally fouled. They're calling it on Todd Hanson, number 12. And that is his 3rd foul. Roosevelt wants a timeout. Things are getting a little shaky right now for both teams. A lot of turnovers. At this stage, though, you're past the nerves. You're past the jittery feelings or the butterflies when you go into a contest. In the third quarter, especially like in college ball, when they say the first 10 minutes out of the locker room at halftime, most important time of the game. Right here, Roosevelt is holding on. Ed Pepple, Mercer Island. Pavilion. Stage here at the Seattle Center Coliseum. 5:55 remaining in the third period, with Roosevelt on top by 7, 28-21. I'm Don Poyer, along with Luke Ellis. And thanks again to everybody in the Seattle area, Spokane, Yakima, Tri-Cities, Lewiston, Idaho. Thanks for joining us tonight. Eric Schwabe on the line. Says he's thinking about attending maybe Stanford as a student, not as a ball player.
Now it is a 6-point lead by Roosevelt. 5-point ball game.
Heavier pressure, steal by Townsend. Still Roosevelt ball.
Now this is kind of interesting, Don. Notice this pressure by Mercer Island. There's one player missing from that pressure. It is Kyle Pepple, who usually is up there. He's the one dropping back now because of his foul problems.
Right. And Gardner is not in there either. Damon Dickens is in there for him, number 42. You'll see him later on, but this means now that Todd Hanson has to handle the ball a little bit more than usual. He's against Moscatel. That's Brent White with the ball. Demetrius Carter. Paul Jerue is on him for Mercer Island. Demetrius, the layoff jumper. Oh, heartbreak. No jump ball. Finally, the foul by Steve Moore from behind. That's unfortunate. I think Steve was simply trying to get around him and get out of the way. Ben Snowden is unhappy.
Foul is on number 34, Steve Moore.
Let's look at it again and see exactly what happened. Here's Schwabe with the ball, and, well, perhaps we didn't catch it soon enough. You can obviously see the frustration on the part of Steve Moore, number 34. Nevertheless, it's Mercer Island's ball.
Mercer Island could cut that deficit to 5. Check that, make it 3. 28-23. Pepple. And the trading. Moore couldn't get the handle. There's Jerue. This time he does get the handle. Brett Smith. That was a kamikaze jumper if I've ever seen one. But again, that happens a lot with Roosevelt. Bullet pass, knocked away. And a foul on Roosevelt. Foul on Demetrius Carter, number 10. That's number 3 for him.
You know, Roosevelt sometimes appears to be reckless, and it succeeded in the first half. They were kind of organized reckless. Here in the third quarter, here's a couple times they're not taking enough time on the offensive end. I mean, they pass it, they whip it around, and they're known for that. But you said just on that last shot there, they didn't really, it was a reckless shot.
Pepple going to get a breather as you see Rich Dewey, number 50, checking back in. And here comes Gary Gardner. He's back in the game. Number 22 for Roosevelt along the foul line. There you can see him stretching. And you know he's got a very, very sore big toe. Paul Jerue on the line. 4-point lead for Roosevelt. It's been all Mercer Island the last few points. Not so much by scoring, but the last few minutes rather, not so much by points, but domination of the game itself. Brett Smith taking charge underneath. Oh, the intensity of this game is really picking up. Something you might not be able to sense at home, but you look at the faces of these players as they go inside to Hanson. Gary Gardner with an assist, not bad. Come off the bench and do something like that.
Oh, come on,
Joe Thompson can't put it in. And a foul on Thompson, reaching in against Brett Smith.
I think we're going to see the Roosevelt fans standing for the rest of the game, like the Roosevelt bench. Nobody's sitting anymore for Roosevelt.
That is 14 fouls on Mercer Island. Next time they go to the line. And we're only in the third period. This game may slow down as a result of that. 5 team fouls already on Roosevelt. Gardner, deep breath.
Thompson gets hit with another foul.
Another foul, right. Paul Jerue upset. Brett Smith in there breaking things up. Demetrius Carter as well.
Well, there's no need to get into something like this. This has been too good of a game to have.
But like I said, this is almost brother against brother. These guys have done each other a long time, and this is competitive. Joe Townsend will sit down.
That is his 5th foul.
According to the official stats, that is number 5.
And we're gonna check on that. Well, let's look at the foul first while we check to make sure that it is his 5th.
Yeah.
Mercer Island says that is not his 5th. We have it listed as 4. Let's double check and see.
It's got to be 4. Yeah, I think the official stats are on this time.
Oh, I don't
34.
know.
Mike Williams checking back in.
We'll try to check that for you because obviously he came off the floor. We've got 4, and the Mercer Island coaches are saying that he only has 4. And now the referees are saying, how many are we shooting?
Well,
Let's find out.
that'll be 1 and 1. That should be the 15th foul.
Gardner at the line now.
Well, the scoreboard still has 14 fouls, but that's wrong too.
We'll get it straight for you. Fill you in a second here.
As long as the officials know, that's a count. .359 remaining, third quarter, 30-24, Roosevelt. Paul Jerue for the Islanders, over to Moscatel. Schwabe.
And the official word is that's 5, and Thompson will sit.
Oh, I can't believe they kept him in there with 4. Brett Smith. It'll be Mercer Island ball.
You know, with the score 30-24, it's hard to believe. Who would have thought the score would have been this low in the third quarter, Don? We expected a high-scoring contest.
Especially after the first quarter. Moscatel. White ball. Roosevelt.
Moscatel has yet to score in the second half for Mercer Island.
Well, that's hurting them, too. You can really tell. Anybody that throw it away, it'll be Mercer Island ball. With Moscatel not scoring, that's really hurting them. Anybody that averages 20 points a game and has only 6 at this stage, you've got to fill that void somewhere, and they're not doing it. 30-24. Gardner. That's why they call him the man.
And credit his defense with setting that up.
Almost a steal by Smith. 32-24, back to an 8-point lead for the Rough Riders.
Mercer Island has no choice but to bring in the guns. Kyle Pepple now, though he has 4 fouls, is that right? Has returned back into the game. Pepple has 4, so now he's in foul trouble, but back in the game, they need him. They're down by 8.
It's still early, though. Gardner, jump ball with Eric Schwabe.
And once again, Moscatel's shot fails to drop.
You can see the frustration on Moscatel's faces. Look at this. This man is 6'3", 210.
And that's
Jerry
a dunk.
Gardner.
I think we've only had 2 dunks tonight. We had Scott Booz with one in the first game and Gardner with that one.
Schwabe with a height advantage. Mercer Island with the ball. Pepple. Smith with another rebound, and he's fouled by Moscatel. That is 3 on him. Let's run it down. That's 3 on Moscatel, 4 on Pepple. Thompson is fouled out. He is a starter. 2 on Schwabe, 1 on Dewey. Nobody in foul trouble to speak of. Carter with 3. Demetrius Carter for Roosevelt. Todd Hanson has 3, and Steve Moore has 3. 2:52 remaining here in the third quarter at the Seattle Center Coliseum. Brett Smith.
Both teams in the one-on-one situation now, and they will be for the remainder of the third quarter, and we've got 2:52 to play there, and all of the fourth quarter.
You saw Steve Moore just shake hands or give him a high five with Brett Smith. Moore and Smith are very close. Smith being the senior, Moore the sophomore. Moore goes to Smith a lot for a lot of advice to keep him cool under pressure times like this. Back to that 10-point margin. Roosevelt has not given up a thing. Their lead was cut down to about 6. But now it's back to 10. And top right Mercer Island has got to go to work. Charging Pepple, that's 5. He's gone. Pepple's high school career is over.
Here it is, Pepple driving the baseline.
Steve Moore planting his left foot on the baseline. And Stu Hanson, the referee there, calls the foul. Full court pressure by Mercer Island. Steal by Moscatel.
He double dribbled, I think. Yes.
Yes.
And in stealing the ball, number 24 for Roosevelt, who is Brett Smith. May have injured his knee. He's holding it, but he's okay now, I guess. He's still running.
Here, Mercer Island's got to relax. Yeah, they lost Pepple and Townsend too, but this is only the third quarter. 2:25 remaining. There's a steal for Mercer Island, and it's still right back, but there's a foul on number 10, Demetrius Carter of Roosevelt. That's 4 on him.
You're right, Don. It is only the third quarter. There's plenty of time left for Mercer Island to get back into the game, but they may not be used to being without Thompson and Pepple this early in the ball game.
Especially Pepple. You know, Ed said today, and it's not because it was his son. He said by far it would hurt us the most if Kyle was out of the game. Okay, he's out of the game right now. This happened against Juanita when Kyle was injured, and they fought back. It kind of brought them alive, and they won that game in the playoffs in overtime. Whether or not that could happen tonight, I don't know. 2:23, third quarter. 34-25, Roosevelt. And now Moscatel has his 7th point.
His first of the second half.
Exactly, good point.
Demetrius Carter has left the game, by the way, for Roosevelt. He is also sitting down.
Chris Daigre has checked in for him, number 32. You'll see him out of the forecourt. Gary Gardner, he's really got to take charge now. Need more with it. Look at the heavy pressure. And finally Gardner says, wait a minute, guys. Let's spread it out. Look at that. Todd Hanson. Smith. No foul.
Good shot, though. It was a good way to work it around. It was a good shot.
Schwabe traveling.
And that extra step is what caused the collision.
And what a great job by Roosevelt getting back on defense.
Here it is again. Schwabe twirls, knocking over one player, took the step on the pass, and we got a timeout now. Mercer Island.
Gardner goes down. Todd Hanson goes down, Lou. We got a timeout. And that man wants to talk to his team. Ed Pepple. This is his, well, this isn't his first final, of course, but he's still trying to get that first championship. 15 years at Mercer Island.
You know, while we've got a little break here, take time to reflect on what we've already had tonight. Aberdeen winning the AA crown by defeating Shorecrest earlier this evening. And right now for the AAA Boys Championship, we've got Roosevelt out front, 34-25. And it's interesting to note, perhaps you heard the name Aberdeen before, the AAA ranks. Because of the way the population is now, the way it's spread out, some of these schools have lost students to other districts and so on and so forth. And for that reason, schools shift from AA to AAA and back and forth. So really, there's no difference between how good these basketball teams are.
Let's go to Elaine Perkin. Congratulations to Arlington. 46-38 win over Prairie. Gee, what a marvelous performance after trailing, as we said, by so much in the early going. Same thing happened here in the AA championship. Lou has mentioned Aberdeen down by 12. They came back to win it. But in this case tonight, Roosevelt's done a pretty good job holding on to some sort of a pad. More full court pressure. Todd Hanson. Paul Jerue almost with a steal.
Roosevelt out of bounds.
We've got some young people in there. Number 32, Chris Daigre. He will inbound. He is a senior. He's been around. He is another transfer from Nathan Hale, along with Demetrius Carter. Gardner with it. No foul. Got to get across the timeline. Offensive foul.
I think Jerue did a pretty good job of falling over, but when he did turn around, he did have that elbow out there. Let's watch. As he turns.
Good move by Dewey.
That was a good move by Dewey.
Gardner, that's only his first foul. Minute 35 remaining, third quarter. 34-25. Roosevelt on top and a silly foul by Brett Smith. 3 on him.
Roosevelt's had things pretty much their way. They can't afford some foolish fouls here to break the tempo of the ball game.
Well, they're in the 1-on-1 situation, so it's going to kill them if they keep that up. Williams on the line. A man who earlier suffered from a strep throat, but got healthy in time. Gardner the rebound, and Williams can't get a point. Gardner quickly down inside. Daigre can't score. Rebound Williams. Here comes Jerue of Mercer Island. Moscatel, that's his spot. Boy, he's cold tonight. More the rebound. The young sophomore playing the game of his life. Daigre outside. No call.
I don't know. That's a little tough one there. The ball took a bad bounce, so when he grabbed it, he just rolled and fired.
Look at this. White ball. Everything is going wrong against Mercer Island right now.
Well, let's watch it.
They can't seem to get a break. Boy, that's tough psychologically. For high school kids especially. They're going through some real tough times right now. Hanson gets it down to Daigre. 41 seconds, third quarter. 36-25. 11-point lead for Roosevelt. Mercer Island ball.
Mercer Island will go for the last shot of the quarter now. Ed Pepple, the coach, has just signaled that to his players.
Right.
Run it out, 36-25.
Pepple, of course, fouling out. That puts Jerue at the point. Here's steal by Smith. They're calling it Roosevelt ball. Now one referee is calling it Roosevelt. Dan Nixis is calling it Roosevelt. He was at center court. Stu Hanson was on the baseline on the offensive end. He was saying the other way.
A little conference. Let's see what they decide.
Jump ball.
If both officials are equally adamant that they saw the call correctly and they disagree, it will be ruled a jump ball, and that is the case at this time.
Schwabe against Brett White. Schwabe at 6'5" with a height advantage, but look what happened. Traveling. So we're back to where we started from, Mercer Island ball.
11 seconds to play in the quarter.
Mercer Island can cut the lead to 9. 8 seconds. Williams. Dewey on the baseline. Tries to draw the foul, can't do it. The tip no good, and there's the horn. After 3. A shocker so far. Roosevelt leading top-ranked Mercer Island by 11. 36-25. Higher here at the Seattle Coliseum tonight. Bands from Mercer Island. Bands, there's the Mercer Island band. Similar to Stanford's band for football games. You never know what they're going to wear.
There's a telling statistic. 1 from 11 from the field in that third quarter.
All right. It's time for the stretch run. It's time for the kick. 8 minutes are left in this state AAA final. And Roosevelt's going in with an 11-point lead. Mercer Island with the ball. Here comes Paul Jerue. Baseline inside. Dewey. Checked out. Moscatel, and he scores. That's only his 9th point of the night. 9-point lead. Brett White down in the corner. Hanson. And as you see, Demetrius Carter back into the ball game. The tip by Hanson.
Mercer Island out in a man-to-man defense that time.
But they have to. Down like that, they've got to. You're right, Lou. Near steal by Smith. Back to an 11-point lead for Roosevelt. Got to remember the feeling of these Roosevelt players inside. They remember those summer league games. They remember that first game of the season when they were whipped by Mercer Island. Schwabe, the turnaround. They're finally getting some of those to drop.
Schwabe's having a good game, 16 points.
Gardner can't get it in bounds. Timeout, Roosevelt. Let's take a break ourselves. 7:09 remaining in the title game. 38-29, Roosevelt. Playing 27 games this year, a record of 25-2, losing only 2 games down in Nevada in a national tournament. Trying to come back to win something they felt they won last year, and right now they're down by 11. Take it 9. And now, Mercer Island.
Say goodbye to
Go to the
Demetrius
line.
Carter. That is his 5th foul.
Demetrius is gone.
An offensive foul called on him on the inbounds pass. He attempted to get position on the inbounds pass, and in doing so, ran into Paul Jerue.
And he is now on the foul line. 38-29. They can cut the lead to 7. This is the kind of ball, though, that Mercer Island is so good at. They have faced problems all year long. They're an excellent club.
You know, I can't help but notice kind of a look on their faces. Roosevelt is playing to win this game. Mercer Island appears to be playing to keep from getting beaten. It'll be interesting to see the next 7 minutes.
I would agree with you up to this point. I think now you're starting to feel a little change of momentum. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Moscatel with it. Boy, what a rebound. Jerue. Schwabe. White jerseys everywhere around that ball. Quickly down court. Steve Moore. It's a race. Rebound to Gray. Red White. Why not? And he draws the foul. Rich Dewey, number 50. That's his 2nd for the night. A great example of Roosevelt basketball. Doesn't matter what's happening. We're going to run with the ball. We're going to try to penetrate. We're going to try to score on you. And there's another example of it.
Smith going up on the shot, and I don't know.
I'm not saying that's smart basketball. I'm just saying that's what they do, and that's what's worked for them all year.
My hesitation comes on the foul to Dewey. I think he might have had that one cleanly.
Roosevelt still leads by 9.
6:43 to play.
Brett Smith. Ten-point lead. 39-29. Coming up on the 6.5-minute mark. Mercer Island's got to start doing something here pretty soon. Inside of the loose ball. Last touch by Roosevelt. Steve Moore plays like a 30-year-old veteran sometimes. Instead of a 16-year-old sophomore. Jerue. Going for the loose ball. Moscatel can't do it. Todd Hanson comes up with it. Gardner. Look at Gardner trying to penetrate through the whole team. He does it. Hanson.
I don't know if Gardner tried to pass that or just lost it, but Hanson was there and nearly made the points. Why did he miss? He was fouled.
Third personal foul.
Dewey picks up his 3rd personal foul, and so Hanson will go to the line.
And he can widen this lead. 10 points already, 39-29, 6:14 remaining in the state AAA final. Todd Hanson, 6-foot senior, averages 3.5 points a game. He has 11 tonight. Hanson has been somewhat of a hero tonight, Lou.
Well, you talked about him at the beginning of the game saying he's not known for shooting. He's got 12 points. He leads all scorers for Roosevelt.
6:11 remaining. 12-point lead for Roosevelt. Dewey on the baseline. Lays it out to Jerue. Smith rather, up in the air. And we've got the foul.
Just to continue our thought on Hanson, Don, he has averaged 3.5 points this season. He has 12 tonight, and 12 is the difference in this ballgame.
And there's Jerue driving down the lane, trying to draw the foul, which he did. Paul Jerue. If you hadn't heard us earlier, he is the younger brother of Mark Jerue, outstanding linebacker for the University of Washington.
And he's probably tired of being in the shadow of his brother, but nevertheless, an outstanding athletic family, the Jerues.
I admire him, but he's going to be a walk-on at the UW. I'm sure he could play at least small college basketball somewhere. He's too small for major college, but who knows? He's got the savvy of his big brother. That I've noticed. And the hard-nosed attitude. Very strong, courageous type of kid. 41-30, 11-point lead now for Roosevelt. Jerue with another one.
He's taking time in between free throws to explain the defense that his team will take the next trip down the floor.
We're at 6 minutes. More pressure by Mercer Island. There's Moscatel, another turnover. Jerue. Well, the foul's either on Smith rather, or Daigre. Evidently it's Daigre.
Let's look and see what Daigre did on this play. The inbounds pass, Jerue decided to go in between, and Daigre got him with the arm reaching around.
And again, Mercer Island back on the foul line.
Red ball right here. You heard it. Red ball right here. Was last off the arms of Daigre.
Mike Townsend coming in now for Daigre. Townsend, a 6'1" senior. Doesn't play a lot of ball. Extremely good shooter, however. Schwabe can't get it down. And there's Gardner, the workhorse. And now we'll have to go to a jump ball with a much taller Schwabe. Jerue with that bad toe. Still in there fighting. He really is the Paul Silas of this team. Of course, Paul wasn't a ball handler, but he's that kind of a solid, rough-em-up type of ball player underneath and can handle it outside. Mercer Island ball. 5:40 remaining. Still at a 10-point lead for the Rough Riders. Schwabe. Good board by Moscatel, and Brett Smith has his 4th foul.
I think it's become obvious here, Mercer Island trying to work the ball inside, either get some of those Roosevelt players in foul trouble or get it to Eric Schwabe, who they were trying to get it to on that play. Moscatel was the one that was fouled, but Schwabe was the man they were looking for. Schwabe, the leading scorer for Mercer Island at this point with 16 points. In fact, he's the only player for Mercer Island in double figures.
Moscatel usually takes somewhat of a jump shot from the foul line rather than the stationary shot. A little bit of a hop there.
Moscatel just joined Schwabe in double
jump
figures.
shot. More. 9-point lead. Hanson. Oh, a lot of pressure now. Roosevelt still got to score points. Foul on Dewey, number 5-0. And that is number 4 on Rich.
Let's see how Dewey got in there. Here's Brett Smith trying to get around him, and Dewey just kind of reaches in. He's kind of blocked out by Smith from that camera angle, but nevertheless a foul. Let's look at it from the other angle. Now you can get a good look at Dewey, number 50, if the referee will move. Thank you, ref. And yes, he reached in with his hand, and then he kind of tripped on it.
Back to live action, and Brett Smith on the line. Smith with 11 points.
A 3-sport athlete at Roosevelt.
In fact, he was one of the players in that first game of the year that had just gotten done with football. Roosevelt going on to the playoffs, of course. He wasn't ready to play basketball, as he put it. He said, we needed 5 balls in that game. We weren't organized at all. Boy, they're organized tonight. They've got a 10-point lead. Can't make it 11, however. Dewey the rebound. Jerue with the ball. 5:16 remaining in the fourth quarter. Jerue penetrates inside to Moscatel. More pressure. Smith. Roosevelt's got to keep playing basketball. They're just running around right now trying to hold on to it. 8-point lead. It's too early. Now they don't have a Craig Jackson out there to handle the ball with Demetrius Carter. Both of them are gone, granted. They got Hanson in there, along with Townsend. Jerue, Schwabe. Moscatel, another key rebound, and puts it in. (42-36), a 6-point lead. Gardner throws it right at Dewey. Dewey, 4-point lead. Timeout, Roosevelt. Let's go to Elaine Perkins.
Congratulations.
4 minutes and 13 seconds remaining in this, the state AAA title. And there's the man from Mercer Island.
Joey Rogers, self-proclaimed bass-playing cheerleader for Mercer Island. And he leads the cheers, and they got one more last cheer. It is.
I'm sure the island is 6 inches higher tonight because everybody's here.
That's right.
Got a sea of maroon out there.
Okay, Al Moscatel, we've talked about it all night, having some problem shooting. In the last 45 seconds, he has scored 4 points. He's up his total to 14 points, and suddenly the lead is only 4 points.
That's
for
some
Roosevelt.
very key rebounding, too, Lou.
Yes.
4:13 remaining. 4-point lead for Roosevelt. Charging. Mercer Island is really taking advantage now of the lack of experience on the part of Todd Hanson and Damon Dickens and the other reserves. 4 fouls now on Hanson. It's a legitimate charging foul. Good job by Paul Jerue.
It was a foul, and Hanson became very close to drawing a technical foul. He wisely turned away, did not say a word. He was very close to getting a technical foul. Now, while they're setting up at the foul line, at the other end.
Now, Gary Gardner, number 22, is very quick to keep his players away from the referee. Again, he's taking charge. 42-38. They could move to within 2 here. Paul Jerue will go to the foul line.
The Roosevelt stands, the fans are still standing, but they are very quiet.
A number of things have been thrown on the floor in the last couple of minutes. This is a serious danger to the players. It only jeopardizes their health and safety. We ask your cooperation in keeping things from throwing in the stands. Thank you.
Probably heard the announcement by Paul Highsmith. Some debris being thrown on the floor, which is probably only normal. Intense game like this. Jerue can cut it to 2. Not this time. Gardner with a rebound. Roosevelt is in dire need of a ball handler. And it's going to have to be Gardner, I would imagine. Here he goes.
Nice pass.
Gary Gardner, the catalyst, the general. He's the man there that made it happen for Roosevelt.
Dickens had just to bounce it off the glass. Another angle now. Dickens, 42 on the left of your screen. Oh, a nice pass. And 2 points.
Great job by Gardner to avoid Mike Williams there and not get the charging foul. Dickens on the line. Point lead, it goes out of bounds. Roosevelt ball. Eric Schwabe can't believe he didn't catch that thing. .356 remaining. We're under the 4-minute mark. 6-point lead, Roosevelt. Brett Smith running around, double teaming now by Mercer Island. Todd Hanson, he can't handle the ball, and Mercer Island knows it. Now it's a loose ball. Mercer Island, Dewey. Moscatel. Schwabe.
Dickens fouls him.
That's Schwabe still down. Jerue helps him up. Dickens finally gets up, the junior. Second foul on Damon.
Okay, let's look at the play. Moscatel, nice pass to Schwabe. Schwabe up, and Dickens coming out of nowhere to try to slap it away, and he fouls him. That's an obvious
Clearly a foul. He got him with a body.
Sure. 4-point lead now by Roosevelt.
And again, Mercer Island has a shot at getting inside that 4-point deficit. Had a chance to get it into 2, but Mark Jerue on the line couldn't do it. Here's Schwabe. He can cut it to 3 at least, and does.
In the last 5 minutes, Roosevelt had an 8-point lead. At the foul line, Mercer Island has made only 1 foul shot. That one. They've got to make some more in order to pull back here.
Look at Gardner.
Beautiful play.
Jerue. He was looking for Rich Dewey or Eric Schwabe. I'm not sure which.
I think he was looking for Dewey, number 50, but Dewey stopped instead of continuing his move toward the basket. Jerue had led him, and instead it went out of bounds. Moscatel knocked it out of bounds on the inbounds play, so Roosevelt retains possession.
46-41, Roosevelt on top. 3 minutes, 19 seconds remaining. This is the 4th quarter. Blocking foul, that time on Jerue. That's 3 on him.
Hanson, again, the Roosevelt player involved in the collision. Last time he was called for the foul. This time it's Jerue, and once again we go to the foul line. I mentioned this a moment ago that Mercer Island has made only 1 foul shot in the last 5 minutes. Roosevelt has yet to make a foul shot in the last 5 minutes. Keeping a little statistic here. They've missed only 1. Hanson's got a shot now.
Well, Mercer Island is doing exactly what they need to do, and that's pick on these people that aren't that good at ball handling. Todd Hanson. Still a 5-point lead for the Rough Riders. Coming down on 3 minutes. Moscatel. Brett Smith is taking care of business. Finally gives out to Dickens. Foul. And Damon Dickens will go to the foul line. 34, Mike Williams getting the foul.
Interesting to note there, Don, that Roosevelt was unable to get the ball to Gardner. Gardner really, as we've said all night, probably their best ball handler, but they couldn't get the ball to him.
I think Ed Pepple wants a timeout. He's standing right in front of us. He does. Pepple and his assistant standing in front of us waving. And finally he gets just that. Timeout on the court. 2:48 remaining in the AAA final. And there's the lead. Coliseum in Seattle. Let's pause for station identification. This is the King Sports Network. Let's set the stage. 2 minutes, 48 seconds remaining in the state AAA boys finals. Mercer Island trails Roosevelt 46-43. Roosevelt with as much as a 10 to 12 point lead, but now Mercer Island coming back and doing so without their star guard, Kyle Pepple, who fouled out earlier, and without their star inside man, Joe Townsend, who also fouled out. Demetrius Carter fouled out, the starting point man for Roosevelt. And a lot of new people have had to come in, including this man, Damon Dickens, on the line for the Rough Riders. Can't buy it. Mercer Island could move within 1. Baseline, charge on Mike Williams. That's 2 fouls now on Mike.
The attendance for today's session, nearly 10,000. The total attendance for the 3 days.
Moore had the feet planted. Full court pass. Moore. Not bad for a sophomore. 48-43, 5-point lead. 2.5 minutes left. Dewey. Steve Moore with a foul of Roosevelt. 4 fouls on Steve. Dewey doing a nice job of streaking down the baseline. Watch Dewey. Well, I don't know. Steve Moore may have been fairly well established.
Interesting statistic here to throw out, Don. Another one find interesting. Bench scoring. Roosevelt has got 16 points off of players that came off the bench, non-starters. Mercer Island, with 2 of their starters fouling out, has only 2 points from players from the bench.
Dewey.
Make it 3 points now, as Dewey is one of those players that came off the bench.
Rich Dewey, the 6'3" senior. Short. Dickens, the youngster, with a rebound. 48-44, Roosevelt. Gardner lays it off. Moore can't buy it. Great hustle by Schwabe. He saves it for Mercer Island. Coming down 2:05, 48-44. Still a 4-point lead for the Rough Riders. Still 4. Gardner, key rebound. Down court quickly to Brett Smith. Smith will wisely hold up. No, he won't. Dickens. A minute 49. And now Roosevelt with a 6-point lead. Could make it 7. Look at Steve Moore. 34. Did you see that?
Here it is again.
Great assist. Dickens goes up with the concentration and lays it in. Ben Snowden, the head coach for Roosevelt, really has a unique group here. They don't seem to feel much pressure. Minute 45 remaining. Jerue. Islanders down by 6. Roosevelt with another rebound. Here goes Dickens.
That's not very advisable with so much time left to play.
Mercer Island. He had the lay-in. Gardner with a steal. Minute 20 left. Roosevelt will hold it up now. They've got to. 6-point lead. Foul on Jerue. Gardner may have gotten one in the eye. It was unintentional, certainly, by Jerue, and the other Roosevelt players know it. 4 fouls on Paul.
A 6-point Roosevelt lead, a minute 12 to play in the ballgame. You know, if I'm in Mercer Island shoes, Don, I would think, and they're going to call a timeout here to discuss things, I think they've got to work it into Schwabe. Moscatel hasn't been hitting. It's just one of those nights. They've got to move it into Schwabe.
There's the score. We'll be back. A minute 12 remaining. We're down 2 it all now. 50-44. Roosevelt holding on to that 6-point lead. I keep thinking about those words of that man on the foul line now, Gary Gardner, who said, let the people think about Mercer Island and Shadle Park. We want to sneak in the back door. They've got a 7-point lead right now, and I think Paul Jerue just stepped on Gardner's toe, and of course he has that bad toe and toenail. It's a miracle he could get his shoe on today, by the way, Lou. As I said, I saw it last night. It's swollen very badly. 51-44, 7-point lead. He could make it 8 with a minute 12 left. They got it. This would be one. A lot of people would say it wouldn't be an upset as Moscatel goes inside. But it's got to be considered an upset because of the ratings, if nothing else, Lou.
I would tend to agree with you there, Don. Mercer Island is a team that really kind of waltzed through the playoffs, and now they're met their match.
And there you see Steve Moore fouling out. The young sophomore. Moore finishing with only 2 points, but he had at least 3 block shots.
And a couple great assists. And as we await the foul shot, keep in mind Roosevelt has built this lead without their all-Metro selection. Craig Jackson, who was injured in the first moments of this ball game, has not returned to play.
And in effect, without Demetrius Carter in the second half, fouling out. But then you got to remember, too, Kyle Pepple has been out. Joe Thompson has been out for Mercer Island. So in some degree, a battle of the benches, you're right.
And indeed, Roosevelt is winning that battle, scoring 18 points by players off the bench to but 3 for Mercer Island.
Just see the disappointment in Al Moscatel's face. Minute 2 remaining. His Islanders are down by 8. Schwabe the rebound. Brett Smith had the ball, but it's knocked out of bounds by Mercer Island. We're under a minute. 58 seconds remaining. 52-44. Roosevelt. Townsend back into the game. Smith still with it. Steal by Moscatel. Schwabe. And Townsend fouls him. You saw him, number 30. Got him with the body as Schwabe went up.
That's his first foul, but with 50 seconds to go, an 8-point lead is awfully difficult to overcome. Roosevelt just continue to play tough defense, try to keep from fouling Mercer Island. And then on the offensive end, Roosevelt just got to keep the ball away from Mercer Island. They don't need any more points.
Looking at the Mercer Island bench, Kyle Pepple has not sat down for some time. He's just standing on the sidelines watching this ball game next to his father. Eric Schwabe getting one. 52-45, 7-point lead, 50 seconds.
Schwabe can hit for, there's Kyle Pepple
Kyle and his father.
21 points tonight for Schwabe.
Smith got to get it inbounds, finally to Townsend. Double teaming, triple teaming, jump ball. Good job by Moscatel. Tying up Townsend. 46 seconds. This is by no means over if they get a couple of quick ones down here, though. You know what, Lou? Because Moscatel can score from outside. If he could hit 2, who knows?
You're right.
Schwabe obviously with a height advantage. Jerue. Oh, knocked away by Dickens. Dickens, what a great play. And Gary Gardner against Dewey. The twister doesn't get the points, but he does draw the foul. Damon Dickens, though, with a marvelous job on defense inside, knocking that ball loose. 37 seconds remaining.
That should be 5 now for Dewey.
And he sits down.
Yeah, that is 5.
Here comes number 54, Tony Grossi. Grossi, rather. Grossi was the nose guard on Mercer Island's football team. Big, strong kid. 6'1" senior.
37 seconds to play in this ball game.
Well, I got to lean towards Roosevelt now. Strange ball game. Having Pepple out, Thompson out, Demetrius Carter, Craig Jackson.
A lot of the players that we were prepared to see ran into foul trouble, and
right.
they became supporting cast members.
And this guy really took charge, Gary Gardner.
You know, he's only scored, that is his 10th point, I think, 10 points now.
Right.
That's not really that many when you consider his team has 53, but he has done so many things away from the ball, on defense, on quarterbacking this club. Passes were incredible.
37 seconds remaining, 53-46. A 7-point lead, and Gary could make it 8. No. Quickly, here come the Islanders. Moscatel's got to start shooting. He does. He got it. 53-48. Got a foul on Moscatel. Down on the baseline, evidently, on Gary Gardner. 28 seconds remaining. 5-point lead. So Gardner will go back to the charity line again with a pair of 1-and-1 situation.
While we're waiting for this foul shot, I want to mention another interesting little tidbit of the state tournament. There are so many stories here. The statistician is Bill Longwell, and he is the gentleman that at times when you see a shot of the bench here, He is the man in the striped shirt that keeps track of all the stats, and he's done it for years now with his entire family.
Gardner widens the gap. 54-48 for Roosevelt. 28 seconds left. Roosevelt last won the title in 1973 with James Edwards in that bunch. 55-48. Moscatel's got to do it. Brent Smith, and he is fouled by Grossi. 22 seconds left. It's a matter of counting it down and hitting foul shots right now.
What a twist, Don. Mercer Island, the team that we talked about that is a team. Roosevelt more of a one-on-one team. And then when you look at this ball game, Roosevelt has been the team. Gardner with 12 points, Carter 11, Smith 12, Hanson 12. They've spread out the scoring, whereas Mercer Island has had to rely on just Eric Schwabe, who has 21, and Moscatel with 18.
Might have noticed it's a little lonely down there shooting foul shots because 4 of the 5 Rough Riders are down on the defensive end. There they are. First smile I've seen from Gary Gardner tonight. Todd Smith in with a smile now. 20 seconds. 19. Williams. Inside fighting it up is Moscatel. Townsend trying to inbound. Gets it to Smith. You can hear the crowd. One more foul for good measure. 56-50. Roosevelt coming up with an outstanding performance.
And now the Roosevelt bench beginning to celebrate a little bit. Coach Ben Snowden taking the hugs from his assistant coaches, from the trainers, from his fellow players.
You can feel the joy and the happiness for Roosevelt, and yet you can feel the sorrow for Mercer Island. These kids have been together since the 6th grade when they won the national title. They were second in the nation as 8th graders. They went down to Nevada a couple of years in a row and played very well representing the state of Washington. All they wanted, the only thing that remained in their career as high school players was the state title. And right now that's 7 points away with 7 seconds left. Shaking hands, Craig Jackson, Al Moscatel, as I said, they're all very good friends.
And in the meantime, Don, Mercer Island sending in some new players. Peter Lyon, J.D. Stern, Tony Grossi back into the ball game. They'll get a chance to play. And some Roosevelt newcomers are also coming in. Number 14 checking into the ball game is Bert Benton.
Now Moscatel is checking out. Paul Jerue is out. Wholesale substitutions now for both teams. Brett Smith. Is he charged or what?
He has just played the most important basketball game of his career.
Craig Jackson's feeling pretty good right now.
He's a state champion. Those words on the back of his t-shirt, pure pleasure, do mean a lot.
5 seconds. The last shot of the game made by number 20. And they ran it back. salute the winners tonight. The Washington State champions. Reardon, the boys B. Preston, the girls B champions. Lyndon Christian winning the boys championship. Clay Ellen winning 30 straight games. The A champion. Aberdeen taking the AA championship for the boys, and Arlington doing so in the girls division. Finally, Roosevelt, the boys state AAA champions, and Clover Park winning it for the girls.
And isn't it interesting?
Craig Jackson, the man that was injured, getting quite an honor. The back of his shirt, as you said, Lou, says pure pleasure. What he's enjoying right now.
There's that smile. We haven't seen much of that tonight from him.
Sleepy's having a good time right now. Gary Gardner. Tonight's coverage of the state basketball tournament was brought to you statewide by Rainier Bank. At Rainier Bank, we're involved. For Lou Gallos, I'm Don Poyer saying so long from the Seattle Center Coliseum. Good night.